Hey guys, so sorry about that. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. My PC just all my monitors went blank and it sounded like it was rebooting, but I was still talking on Zoom and OBS locked up and I don't know what the hell that was. But anyway, um, thanks Microsoft, I guess. Um,
Meanwhile, Linux is still running.
this is why I develop in Linux. Um, I'd be running this in Linux too if OBS ran in Linux, but
It runs in
well,
Linux.
OBS does, but a lot of the plugins that I use don't. So it's
All
anyway.
right.
Anyhow, so we were talking about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, right? No, wait.
I don't eat those.
We oh gosh.
So we're talking about soft deletes,
Hmm.
and what the conversation that we were talking about is that this we'll link a post that talks about this because that gave me the idea for having this discussion. And he wasn't actually saying that you should just not do it, just full delete, but had an alternative strategy for handling if you do need to get data back other than backups. So we can mention that. He also, um, so I think the deleted at technique is, yes, we soft deleted the stream.
Nice, Colin. Good one.
We just updated it to null and we're back, baby. Okay. Uh, so I think that that could be a good use case as long as you're not worried too much about the children of the model that you're going to be doing the deleted at, or if it's a very infrequent thing. However, the proposal that this individual had um, was not doing that because number one, it requires you all queries that are sent to the database now to need to say where deleted at is null. Now you can do some techniques in Rails that make that convenient, but still every query now has to, if you need to do anything, go and drop it down to find by SQL or anything like that, or find by SQL, you're going to have to remember to do that to make sure that those stay hidden. So it's more of an onus and more things to keep in your head as you're working with it. So that's one disadvantage he mentioned. The other one was um, uh, the foreign keys don't work. So of course you have these linked, and it's a good practice to use foreign keys to maintain referential integrity.
Yeah.
And this exactly goes to the point of what do you do with the children if you're soft deleting, say, the parent? Well, your referential integrity goes out the window. And so you can't really use it if you're using soft deletes, or it doesn't work that effectively. And the other thing that now his or well, the other thing I think you could handle it. He talks about being able to delete records. Well, you could delete records using the deleted at dates. That's another advantage of using deleted at, is that you can delete them after a period of time for compliance reasons, or
Right.
again, you just want to clear up data if it's taking too much room in your table. But the technique that he proposed is basically maintaining a deleted at table. So not deleted at table, but just basically a deleted records table of whatever it is. Like if it was my forms, there would be a deleted forms table.
Right. So like an archive type system.
Yeah. And so basically the delete process would be actually deleting the data and then inserting those data values into this separate table. And he proposed using a JSON field to basically concatenate all the fields together. So that way you don't have to have synchrony between the data model as it exists in, say, your forms table and the ultimate forms deleted table. And for the undelete process, basically you would need to read those values and repopulate.
Oh, right. So split them back out from that concatenated
Right, right.
JSON glob.
And the effectiveness of that would vary based upon how frequently your schema is changing, but you know.
Sure.
So that is a consideration, but at least you have the data to be able to do it. And it would be a longer process than you just flipping one column to null, for example. But
Yeah. Well, and I think the decision on whether to use soft deletes or not is kind of almost a table by table or maybe a class by class decision because, if I've got like important financial stuff, I
it
don't
never
want
gets
that to be
deleted.
deleted, right?
Yeah,
At least not until I don't need it anymore, after 5 years or something,
right,
right?
right.
But if I have, hey, here's a list of images that the user uploaded. How long do I really need to keep that? If somebody deletes that, do I care? Right? They just upload the images again. What, big damn deal. But um, so I think you have to think about, all right, well, what are the repercussions if I do delete this record? What happens? Is it a big problem? And if you say yes, then I think you better investigate some soft deleting schemas. If you say nobody's going to care, then just delete the record. Don't complicate things.
Or, I mean, if you can maintain another possibility is a temporal soft delete, perhaps. So, as opposed to doing something on a regular basis, but basically saying, like, well, you talked about deleting them at some point down the road, but you could say, well, this is a weekly soft deletion. And basically, you keep that data around for a week once it's soft deleted, and then all that data gets purged whenever that 7-day time runs around. So that way it's readily accessible to restore something if the user does something by mistake. Otherwise, it's just gone.
Right. And that's kind of what we do is we have this rolling, nightly job that goes through and does a rolling however many long. Ours is usually on the order of like a year or something, but it does this rolling. If it's older than this, the deleted ad is older than this, gone.
Yeah, and I think that goes to the point. It depends on the use case.
Right.
So, like in my forms case, if someone's deleted a form, 95% of the time, it's because they made a mistake. They were, it's and what's higher than that? There's only probably 0.1% of a chance that they mess something up because I have other controls that they have to confirm you want to delete this. So it's
Yeah.
really, really low percentage, and they will know very, very soon if there's a problem.
Yeah. It's
So
not
with
like
that
it's going to
case,
take them 6 months to say, oh, hey, Creston, I accidentally deleted this form.
exactly.
It's going to be delete. Oh, crap, Creston.
Exactly, exactly. So with that, you could have a much shorter window,
Right.
I think. So I think
Yeah.
it's dependent upon what you're talking about.
Right. Whereas things like financial data, okay, well, we have to keep that around for so long because of tax laws and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. So,
And if you're talking about stuff like that, then that is applicable for then like partition tables are great for that in the database.
right.
So that basically you could partition by year, by month, and you retain that data and then you delete it at the end of 5 years, 7 years, whatever it is. You could just delete the whole table and get rid of all the data. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't use a soft delete for that case.
Right.
I think of it as something it's a way for a user to get out of making a mistake.
Yeah. That's mostly what you would use it for. I have seen um, people though go completely overboard with soft deletes and just everything is soft deleted. We never hard delete anything out of the database. And I can't think of any app I've ever seen where that is a necessary thing. I mean, some of the stuff, sure, soft delete it for a while, but some of it, just no. There's just no
And
reason.
if you care that much about it, I would do the separate table technique, because then you could, all right, if I'm going to be deleting this 500,000 rows or whatever it is, then export that data to its own table or just to a CSV and archive it on S3 and then delete the data.
Hmm. Yeah, because
Because there's no
that's
reason to just keep it around if it's never going to be used.
right. Or if it's only going to be used once a year or something like that. Or on the off chance that we have to look back at something, fine, archive it off. And if you have to pull it back in, pull it back in. But in the meantime, your daily user experience is suffering like crazy because somebody might get a wild hair one week in the distant future and decide they need to see this order that was placed 5 years ago. Well,
Yeah, well, I mean, but if that's your business process, that should be communicated. That you purge particular data, then that should be communicated, and it's
sure,
just, or it's there for an archive. It shouldn't just be in the database just in case.
right.
Yeah.
But
So
and the
I mean, I think these soft deletes are just best for saving a user from themselves.
yeah, or
So
not only an end user but programmers sometimes. Like I put this process out in production, and holy crap, I made a
sure,
mistake and it just deleted a bunch of data. Well, if I've soft deleted data, okay, that's not that bad, right?
true, true.
But even then, you don't want to soft delete every damn thing in your app. And I've seen that. People are just like, "Oh, everything's soft deleted because somebody might make a mistake." Something, but some of this stuff, what if it gets deleted? Who cares? It's so what? Yeah, soft delete
Yeah,
the
I
important stuff, but
yeah, I think it's definitely the exception.
yeah. So
And there are a lot of and there are a lot of downsides to it, as we've discussed here, particularly with regard to the referential integrity, like having children around when a parent is missing. Which I'm going on a strange tangent here, but yeah,
yeah. Um, but yeah, so I mean, the answer to the original question, should you soft delete, is it depends, but probably not as much as you think you should in a lot of cases. Based on what I've seen in the wild, people overuse that and are overcautious with deleting. Um, but yeah, there are cases where soft delete is good. If it's important data, if deleting the record can cause significant issues, or if you need some time to recover from accidental deletions for things, sure, soft delete it. But put a time limit on that. And don't just let it sit there for, 100 years. It's only useful for so long. I don't care how important the data is. Any piece of data is only useful for so long. And if it needs to be useful for longer than that, archive it. Put it in
yep.
a different table. So I think that's the answer to the question. But chat, let us know what you think. Put some comments down below. Um, and I think it's a discussion that's worth having. When should you soft delete? Because sometimes you should, but when are those times? Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that, and thank you for sticking around through the technical difficulties. The weirdest thing
Our
I've ever
soft
seen.
deletion.
Yeah, soft deleting the stream, as Colin said. Um, that's kind of really what it was, because the computer didn't actually reboot. It just kind of blinked out of existence for a second and then came back. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed that, please like, subscribe, comment, do a follow if you're seeing this on Twitch. We will not be here next week. Tomorrow I will be doing Code with Chris, but next week neither the Dev Show or Code with Chris will be on because we will be celebrating Thanksgiving with our families. And I hope that everyone who's watching who does celebrate Thanksgiving, which will be mostly the people in the U.S., although I know some people abroad do as well. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and good time with your family and can concentrate on all the things that you're thankful for.
Yep.
So we will see you back on November the 30th with Ernesto. He's going to come talk to us about Okay, you've looked at Code Critic, Ruby Critic, and you've examined all the things in there. Now what do? What are the best practices to getting your code healthy again once you've identified where the problems are? So that should be a fun talk. I hope all you guys at RubyConf Mini are having a good time. Wish we could be there, but couldn't. So if you are there and you came to join us, thank you so much for taking time out of your fun to come watch us blather and have technical difficulties, and obviously speech impediments as well. So, uh, holy crap! I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee and a nap. We will see you guys. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, and then we'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Until then, happy programming.
Happy programming.